Seemingly I'm live, I tell thee, live. So then, you're wrongin'. Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind, number 228. Sorry, the live number 228. 228, bugger me. We'll get to the parish notes in a moment. Got lots of questions to ask this evening, and we're just going to freeform tonight because there is so much in the news that literally it's overwhelmed. There's tonight I could have picked out 20 subjects to do all of them in depth. I mean, ginger growler. Oi, 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 oi. We'll talk about that, but not in the way you think we're going to talk about it. So, parish notes this evening. Welcome to the body of the kirk. Sister Mary is actually outside tending the vegetable patch. That's got nothing to do with the Archbishop. The Archbishop is actually, he took his time getting back from Rome, but he's now ensconced in the body of the kirk. So if you hear any strange voices and or dogs, it's just the Archbishop taking his growler out for a walk. Well, everything is fine and dandy in the parish and the body of the kirk this evening. So I'm the Reverend Adrian Allen, genuinely the Reverend Adrian Allen. I am a Reverend of the Universal Ministries. I bought it. I wasn't going to study for it really, but I bought it 20 odd years ago. And technically, if anybody in the body of the kirk wants to get married, I can officiate. I can officiate on death, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Great TV series. Ashes to ashes. Genuinely, I can officiate, seemingly. I mean, it's not bloody different from all the frock-wearing deviants than what they do. So they believe in God? No, they don't. No, they don't. There is no such thing. There's just the written word that's been interpreted by a man. So they wouldn't know God if it stood up and bit their testicles off, mind you. If a choir boy did that, they'd give them 3 Mars bars. Paulie Galdieri says, good evening, Adrian. Yeah, utter wrong. And hope you've had a good weekend. Oh, yes, it's been mighty fine. Sunderland won 2-1 yesterday. Yeah, I say. It's always a good weekend when the lads win. How are the lads? I understand Sandra Whittam's in the body of the kirk this evening, so we'll chat with Karen in just a second. Neil Cunningham says, Adrian, is there any truth in the rumour that your name is top of Taylor Swift's wedding guest list? Of course, Neil. I'll have to look at my diary. See what's what. I might not be able to go. I might be busy. Might be doing a live. The body of the kirk comes first. Unfortunate term of phrase, Adrian, but there you go. And Swifty, oh man, it's just that they're going to get her married when they want you to distract you from something. So she gets engaged. Size of the rock, you can buy that for 5p. Because you know there are 2 kind of different diamonds. There is the naturel, au naturel. Trust me, I did my research. I had to for the proposal, and then there is the man-made, the crushed shite diamonds, and you can't actually tell the difference between the shite diamonds and the good diamonds, the real diamonds, the diamonds that come out of the hole in the ground. Genuinely, you can't. So, you've got to be very careful. You've got to have the eyes for it, man. The eyes. So, thank you, Neil. No, I'd rather not, because knowing my luck, if I go to Swifty's wedding and get the invite, she'll have some shit muso playing. And, well, can you imagine the ego on it? Oh, I'll sing at my own wedding. Cannonball UK, hello Rev, hello everyone, hope you're all well. Anyone fancy velvet cake? Oh, I say. More tea, Vicar. Yes, Karen, of course, velvet cake. Honestly, coming out of Sunderland, I didn't even know there was such a thing. I mean, I was in my 40s when I found out this marvellous contraption called Rocky Road. Oh, I say, didn't even know it had a name. But you can't beat a bit of Battenberg or a bit of Bully before you say anything. So, Karen, welcome to the body of the kirk. Des Ashton, g'day, each and every utter wrongin'. Time to grab your Battenberg, steady, 2 hands, Des, and a glass of Wood's Navy rum, I say. It's all rum, bum and backy. Settle down to an illuminating update from our very own ranting Rev from the pulpit of truth. Yeah, bet. Yeah, sweet Bippy Des. Welcome to the body of the cook, as always. Des says to Neil, I'm just picturing AA at the back of the wedding at the appropriate juncture shouted out, "It's a talentless bloke." Or as Brian Connolly once said, "It's a puppet." Cuban Pete, not my Prime Minister, one for Starmer. Sorry, not my Prime Minister, one for Starmer out, two if you're stupid. Stop making me laugh, you're wrong. And I'm with you though, Cuban Pete. Les Griffiths. Epping protest scheduled for 6 p.m. tonight. Reports that police dispersal scheduled for 8 p.m. Bless them. Is it ongoing? Anybody got any knowledge of? There's bound to be YouTubers there. Oh, clicks and likes, clicks and likes. There's further. Starmer couldn't lead a conga line, let alone a government. The man is soulless, nothing behind his creepy eyes. Behind his creepy eyes, behind his very expensive glasses, seemingly, according to Lord Ali. Stuart says, evening, Adrian. I hope you've had a nice few days off. I do hope Sister Mary's not passed out in the cucumber patch again. Well, you never know. Sister Mary did say to someone, I'd like, a little adventure. So I said to her, of course, Sister Mary, what would you like? She says, well, something with a little more size. So I said, Sister Mary, what on earth are you saying? She says, well, I've been looking at that red thing up there. And I'm thinking, maybe, just maybe. And I said, Sister Mary, before you start, that's the bloody fire hydrant. So, no. The answer is no. Oi, 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 oi. Nectar of the gods, man. Les Griffith says, it would be wonderful if we all stopped paying our council tax in protest at Labour and its betrayal of the people. I wonder how long it would take to end their tenure. Quicker the better for me, Les. Quicker the better. They're just corrupt and, well, I'm not saying all of them. There's bound to be the odd one in 650 that has a decent heart about them. But I'm not I'm not a fan. I did tell everyone before, not that I'm psychic. If I was psychic, I'd be a multi-millionaire winning the lottery every bloody weekend. But I think there is a movement. I am going to talk about it in just a little while, about people going, how do we end shite, man? We're not paying the council tax, said a spokesperson. So thank you, Les. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Neil Cunningham says, feel wiped like feet. Oh, yes, right. Neil's wiped his feet on the way in. Likes smashed. Good evening, congregation. Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome, Beata and Louise Hampson. Evening, all. Yeah, wrong. Please, if you're in, smash the likes so we can get over 100 before we start, and then hopefully 200 by the time we finish the live. Neil Cunningham, marvellous. Liverpool played 3-1-3. Oh, I say. Yeah, Newcastle. Not won yet. Sandra Whittam, evening all. I'm wondering when or if it is too late or too early thinking of top two playoffs. So, Sandra, I saw the result yesterday. I do keep an eye open for the Blades. And bloody Borough, man. Borough. The Smoggies. But we've won. We've played 3-1-2. I'll take that. Sandra goes on to say, did you know that Gareth Southgate is returning to English football on Monday? But which club? Anybody heard any rumours about Southgate? Is he going to Championship or is he going to the Premiership? I mean, West Ham might need a new manager, bottom of the league. But also, I do believe, Sandra, that the Blades, the players, are not actually playing for the manager. Because I can't begin to comprehend how well you played last year to how badly you're playing this year. It's got to be something internal. It's got to be either the manager's lost the dressing room or something. So I wonder, are the Blades getting young Gareth? I mean, he's got plenty of bunts. He doesn't need any more money. I mean, how much is enough? So fingers crossed, Sandra. Fingers crossed. Tom Harley says, evening all, as a wrong-un philosopher once said. Oh, bloody hell, I pushed that button too hard. I say, Bloody thing. Hang on. I do apologise. Oh, can you imagine? God, all of a sudden, all that bloody. I'm only doing this because I want to finish off, because Tom, regularly posts fine stuff. Right, yeah. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher, it's all fact, man. It's all fact. Right. We're there. Tom Harley's evening all. I'll take two. Tom Harley says, evening all, as a wrong and philosopher once said, if in doubt, whip out the Battenberg. I'm not sharing my Battenberg with anybody. No. You can, Tom. Napoleon Bonaparte. Hello, one and all. Happy Sunday and lovely to see you all. Just a warning. I put a GPS tracker on my Battenberg just in case. So be warned. Evening, Rev. Hope you're fine and dandy. Happy Sunday. Blimey. Are the Yanks nicking Battenberg? I mean, what would they know? I mean, do they really eat food? Like proper food? Like, made food. But Napoleon Bonaparte, welcome to the body of the Kirk, sir. Les Griffith says, have you seen the latest upload from YouTube, A History Debunked? Les, I have. And once we get to early doors, I will pass an opinion. It's interesting that people are now commenting on stuff that's like 2 weeks old. But I am keeping my own counsel for the moment, because there is something that I am doing in the background that I don't want anybody to know about. But you'll find out soon, I promise. Napoleon Bonaparte responds, Terry Wookfit. The Laird Wookfit's in the body of the Kirk tonight. Yes, Les, but it's not because of any great inside knowledge, only the content of Belen's own videos. Correct, Terry, correct. But what I will do is I will give you insight. I mean, I could always give you insight, because I know the boy. And I do believe that... should I start now? Paul Mabley, evening all. Looks like the Ginger Knacker is going back inside, according to his latest YouTube. Correct. Do you want me to tell you how this is going to happen and what's taking place? So, when a con leaves jail, to the best of my knowledge, they're out on license. This license is a privilege. It's not something that you automatically get. It's not something that, but the judge said, Justice Sadie said, you can, you'll serve so long and you'll come out on license, without a tag. And part of the license is you cannot criticise HMP, that's His Majesty's Prisons. You can't criticise Department of Justice. You can't criticise the Home Office. There's lots of stipulations, but these stipulations are standard. They happen for every single con that comes out of prison, at the halfway mark. This is not something that might have been created for individuals. It is standard. Standard. So a couple of weeks ago, he did this. He had this. Look, he was stupid. He was just. He went and criticised HMP Fossway, the prison that he was in. So, MAPA, Multi-Agency Public Protection, and he is the highest, Dougie, because they believe that he's going to reoffend. Now, we're not talking to somebody who's done heinous crimes, although for the victims, it was the worst experience of their lives. And this is not, it was hurty words. No, I think you'll find it wasn't. I think you'll find there was other stuff in there. And he was tried in a court of law. The first mistake is ending up in the court of law, in the Crown Court. And then he was tried by jury. The jury found him guilty ×4. This is not conjecture. This is fact. He was found guilty ×4. And the other thing was, he's never mentioned this, he refused to take the witness stand. He refused anybody to cross-examine him, because the lies would have come out, all out. And Justice Saney didn't say that he was a journalist. Mr. Justice Saney said he was a social commentator. So where this journalist thing has come from, he's never studied journalism, he's not qualified in journalism, didn't take a degree in journalism, didn't take any qualifications in journalism. He's a social commentator. That's it. Unless in his cranium, he believes anything that he thinks. And I know that he has a go at me. And I know the language that he uses gets me mixed up with other people. But so from the trial, he was found guilty ×4, found guilty by a jury, sentenced by Mr. Justice Saney. And he told him, you're not a journalist, you're a social commentator. And the other thing is that there were 8, at that trial, there were 8 and 2 others added later, restraining orders. Now, let me tell you, if you breach those restraining orders, you can get separately up to 5 years in prison for each individual breach. So don't conflate the license terms and the restraining orders, because the restraining orders are legal and illegal if you breach them, and you will possibly get up to 5 years per breach. So if book 2 is released when he goes back inside, if book 2 has anything to do with the trial, he could end up doing another 5, 10, 15, 20 years inside, depending how many times he breaches the restraining orders. Now, would you think an intelligent man or a healthy man mentally would actually do that? I'll leave you to be the judge. So a couple of weeks ago, he's called into probation in Nottingham. And before I do this, remember, I've said repeatedly on this channel, repeatedly, I hope he takes his time when he comes out. He's made life-changing money. Life-changing. These are not inconsiderable amounts of money. He had enough money to go off and be happy and do whatever he wanted to do. Just live his life. And I advised the people around him to support him in that endeavour. I told him to come out. Not out. He was already out by the time finished the trial. And, Mrs. Belfield? There's no such thing. None. Zero. Zilch. Nix. Nada. He tells you, Mrs. Belfield. So, 2 weeks ago. Probation calls him in. Come here, Bonnie lad. Now, it's fairly easy to see what probation were doing. Because from what I understand, probation, he's high risk. Mapper, level 3, high risk of reoffending. He's not a danger to the public, he's a danger to himself. So Mapper are monitoring him because he's a danger to himself. He is a danger of reoffending. He's high level, Mapper level 3. He's possibly going to reoffend. I want you to hold on to that while I explain this. So I will guarantee you the way that these big organisations work, they will sit down and go, right, Mr. Allen, we just need to have a chat. Have I done anything wrong? No. Just need to have a chat. And the chat's going to be around, we need to make sure that you understand the conditions of your licence. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, right. Are you going to get the kettle on? Let's have a cup of tea and let's just go through this. So, at Nottingham probation officers, they will have gone through all of his licence and made sure that he understood the conditions of those licenses, because they don't want to get, and this is not going to come down from a judge, this is going to come down from the top of the food chain. You have to understand that. The recall, will come from the Home Office. So if you piss the Home Office off, you know where you're going. So they've, in my view, I wasn't there, So I am speculating, but knowing organisations the way I do, what they will have done was make sure that all of their ducks were in a row. Box ticking, of course. But they would have said, right, do you understand this? Argument. I'm the victim. Look, we're just asking you, you're on licence. Do you understand what that means? You haven't finished your term that that was handed down by Mr. Justice Saini. You haven't finished. You've got to the halfway point. And because you've got to the halfway point, you are allowed out on licence. But there are certain conditions. So we're going to go through them. Are you with us? Yeah. Okay, so do you understand that? Do you understand that? Do you understand that? Yeah, they'll have explained everything to him. And then at the end of it, they've gone, right, you've told us that you understand everything. Is that correct? Well, I'm the victim. Right, just sign at the bottom there. Just sign on that dotted line, which tells us that you've understood everything that we've explained to you and pointed out to you in your license agreement. Do you understand me? Us, we. Yeah. He's not a free speech martyr. He's not even a bloody journalist, a BBC whistleblower. The Freedom of Information Act requests. He's not writing stories. He's bullshitting everybody. So, he's been to see probation a couple of weeks ago. And probation are in it for the long game. I would imagine the Home Office and all the way down to MAPA and probation, they're pissed off with him because he just will not stop. And as I said at the beginning of this little segment, I said and have said repeatedly, he needed to keep his head down, come out, do whatever he wants to do, but just keep your head down. Anybody that lives their life through prison or have been in prison will understand. You don't come out and tug the tiger's tail because it will turn round and bare its teeth at you. So, he did the Fossway video, which was naive. I'll be generous and say naive. And then he told the world, or on the YouTube video, the name of a guy that was murdered in Fossway. Now, you know where that's going because he's already been told the week before, stop mentioning Fossway. We're not happy with that video. Stop. Do you understand what you've just signed for? Yeah. Right, well, stop then. And then this week, he comes out and mentions the guy that's been murdered inside a Fossway that is not in the public domain. It is not available to the public. Now, you know, at that point, he's already signed saying, I understand my license conditions. And one is good behaviour. So stop slagging off the system and all the people in the system and the prisons and the prison warders and the staff. You've got to stop. And if you don't stop, you'll be made to stop. That's how the system works. He knows he's going back inside. He knows. Because they told him 2 weeks ago, you either stop or we're sending you back to prison. So I'll hazard a guess. Knowing what I know. One of two things is going to happen. He's going to go to see probation on Tuesday. But somebody says he's posted his last video on YouTube. No, he hasn't. He's got another video in the morning. He's got another video on Tuesday morning. Unless he just slacks it off and goes, no, I can't be asked now. So it's going to go a couple of ways on Tuesday. He's not going to go to probation and he's not going to return home. Maybe. Option one, that probation have and MAPA have and the Home Office have. And let me reiterate, license is not a given. License is on condition of certain things. That's the license conditions. So you have to be of good behaviour, not come out and then start going for it, robbing banks, doing this, doing that, doing the other, and slagging off HMP. It's one of the standard conditions of your license. So he will absolutely categorically be going in to see probation, and they will already know what they're going to do. And I will hazard a guess, it'll be one of two things. He'll either be told, okay, we did this a couple of weeks ago, and you agreed to all that. Is that your signature there? Yes, thank you. You signed that and dated it and timed it, maybe, a couple of weeks ago. Is that correct? Yes. So you told us at that point you understood all your license conditions. Yes. And you understood, and we told you, about good behaviour conditions. Isn't that correct? Yes. So do you believe that you've been well behaved? Do you think you've breached your license conditions? Or do you believe that you've breached the condition of good behaviour? No, I'm the victim. Well, stop you there. 2 weeks ago, we had a word with you, and you put it in writing with your signature that you understood. So, option one, we're going to send you back home, get your affairs in order, you're going back to prison. Or option two, have you brought your bag with you? Good. You're coming with us. They are the only two options. The returning to Chalky, well, there are a couple of options there. One, what they may do is they may put a shot across his bow and stick him back in for 28 days. And say to him, you have to stop. If you don't stop, you're doing your full tariff. You're doing your full term. But we are sending you back for 28 days so that you understand we're taking this seriously. So I believe Tuesday, grab your popcorn. Somebody's not going to be very happy, whichever way it turns out. But do you know something? This is, in my view, this is the worst case of self-sabotage I've ever seen in my life. He had it all. And he, in my view, was the fool that ended up in a court of law defending himself. Now, from what I understand, and there are other things that we're working on here, and I've been given the go-ahead to have somebody on one of these lives or this channel that literally is the expert in that court case. I'm not going to say anything more, but it will make your hair curl, because special measures were implemented so that Justice Sini, he didn't go, oh, I'm not going to pay for anything. I'm not going to pay for a barrister. The court will appoint one. Well, it wasn't him that decided that. And from what I've been told, special measures were implemented so that he could have a representation in court. But what he didn't do, and he's never mentioned this, he defended himself. And what's the old legal saying? Anyone that chooses to represent themselves has a fool for a client, or something like that. Yeah, Stephen, there is that, but that's still to come, I believe. I still believe that there is a live action fraud or fraud investigation ongoing. It might take a few more years, but it's still live, from what I've been told. So he just, I mean, I've said this ad nauseum on this channel. Somebody needs to get their arm around him, and somebody needs to give him some wise advice. Not these hangers-ons, not these other people that, I mean, he's very plausible. Very. But he knows I'll stand up to him, because he knows me. And as much as he turns round and says, no, I've not seen him since I was 19, and now he's changing his story to 2001. Well, change your story again. Because I know when you were at Scarlet FM, because you were talking to me daily. I know when you were at BFBS, because, well, you disappeared and then came back and we had lots of conversations. We were speaking sometimes 2 or 3 times a day on the telephone. And he said, I've not worked with him. I've not spoken to him since I was 19. Halloween shite. Lies. And also, he's a self-confessed liar. 2 separate civil cases in the High Court, he admitted that he lied. Jeremy Vine and the DC in the case. He lied. He lied. And it's all, well, I won't do anything. I'll just sue them afterwards. What? So I believe that he is where he is. He's been hoisted by his own petard. And it's very sad for me. He's an ex-friend. I'm not. Look, I might look an idiot, but I'm not. So to put myself in a dangerous place because of him looking plausible, he's ruining his own life. And nobody is taking him to one side. Not his close coterie of friends or his extended friends or anybody associated with him. Nobody is taking him to one side and saying, pack this in, man. Because, of course, the money runs out. If you're not making any, the money runs out. And what's he got as an asset? The house. It's all very... Look, as a young guy, as a 17-year-old, he was just a bit wacky. And then I kind of got a measure of the man, understood what was going on, and just, we literally spoke every single day for years. And thankfully, I've got the receipts. I've got the emails. I've got all of the evidence. I've got corroborative evidence to the point where in 2013 he was still messaging me. And I've got that message. So remember, he's telling you, I've not spoken to him, I've not worked with him, I've not done anything since 1999 when I was 19. Utter rollocks. Still in 2013, he was trying to contact me. He told me about getting the gig at BBC Leeds. He rang me and told me. I was living in Scotland at that time. I was just like, oh, enjoy it. So, for all the commentators that are kind of commentating on what he's broadcasting in his videos, I can see way past the veil. I can see way past what he's doing. And that's why I've been quiet about it for a while. Because what I'm watching is, it's like a Black Mirror episode. And I don't want that for any human being. Any. But to be a good liar, you've got to remember your lies. And you've got to make sure that there's no corroborative evidence around the truth. So if you end up with the truth coming out, that just, Jeremy Vine's case or the DC in the case, in the High Court, he just said I lied. Oy, 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 oy. Where's the integrity there? So Tuesday, he'll do one of 3 things. He'll make a video, because he's gone back inside for 2 years, 9 months, and there'll be a video posted somewhere saying, you're watching this, I'm back inside. He will be given 28 days as a warning shot across his bows. But this is license, and he's breaching his license conditions, and the license conditions are not a given at all. So they don't want people to go back to prison, but he's level 3 mapper, multi-agency public protection. He's high risk of reoffending. And I can see over the last few days what he's done to a fellow broadcaster. Outrageous. Justice Saini said he was jealous of other people's successes. Justice Saini, in his summing up, was clinical. And because of the regulars and the channel, I just decided to step away from doing Dougie stuff. Some people don't even know what the Dougie reference is. So I stepped away from it. But I've had a lot of contact today saying, are you aware of this? Are you aware of this? I wasn't. I am now. So he can't control the narrative now. And the sad thing for him, he's come out of jail, not, well, out, he did it at the trial, but he's come out, and he's not a resentful stalker at all. So I felt it right and appropriate to pass comment on this, because that's what we do, social commentary. And it's very, very, very sad to see, to someone that I called a friend at one point, he's not now, to go down this route. Now, I'm not going to suggest anything. I'm not going to speculate on most things regarding his own health. There's every chance he's going back inside for a term that no one can determine at the moment. It just depends how high up the food chain it's gone and how high up the food chain he's pissed people off. But book 2, if anybody is watching this from his team, please, 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 if he has put information about the trial in that book, book 2, and he said, I'm going to release it. If I go back inside, I'm releasing it on the day I go back inside. Don't release it, please. Because however many times he breaches his restraining orders, he'll get 5 years for it. And imagine if he's done it 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Or they might just say it's one book, so you get an extra 5 years. It needs to stop now. It's a folly. In my view, it's abject stupidity. But nobody is taking him to one side. Now, nobody's read book 2. He hasn't released it yet. It's only going to come out once he goes back inside. Said he was going to release it in 2028. But to round this off, I'm aware of what's happening. I haven't stepped forward for the longest while because I wanted to get on with other stuff. There's more important stuff going on in the world. Some very fractious and evil stuff going on in the world that I want to tackle. And we'll do some of that tonight on the live. But Dougie, somebody, well, it's too late now because probation will have decided what they're going to do. Now, it's evident that from what I understand, and I haven't got this concrete yet, that if you don't engage with the clinical psychologists, the forensic psychologists, and you don't engage with them, and they determine that a stay in hospital would help you, would be beneficial to you. Even if, like one of the Crays, was it Reggie or Ronnie? One of the two. He was in Broadmoor Hospital. They can keep you in there for decades. Because if you're a threat to anybody on the outside or a threat to yourself, and they will be looking at this, the multi-agencies, they'll be looking at this and think, well, he's actually a danger to himself. Captain Pugwash, very, very insightful comment. Okay, you've deleted it, so I'll leave it. But there's other stuff that we want to talk about. Lots of people contacting me today about this. So I've kind of given you some insight into what possibly is going to happen on Tuesday with the context and the understanding of the background of what happened a couple of weeks ago when he was hauled in. Let's leave it at that. But the purpose behind me saying this, I want his team and the people around him to actually act in his best interests. I think it's very sad that he's done this to himself. So, welcome to the Theatre of the Mind, live number 228. We've done some of the parish notes. I'm going to ask you a really random question. And, you know, it's the 3rd birthday of the channel on Wednesday. So the 3rd of September was when the channel launched. And just trying to think about what we can do just to kind of, you know, do something a little different maybe. I've had confirmation from someone. Yeah, Lords of Battenberg. I've had confirmation from someone who, another YouTuber, who I like his work, definitely. I am talking to others, but we're trying to work out when we can get them on. So I'm looking at getting some other YouTubers on just to kind of give you some insight into who they are and their background, because normally it's just this, and, you know, a talking face, that's all. But so I have been given the nod by a couple of YouTubers. Obviously I've got a couple of interviews in the bag. I'm not going to go into why I've delayed the release of one of those interviews that I've already done, because it's not appropriate at the moment, but I will in due course. But it is something that the 3rd birthday is something that I want to just acknowledge. And so we're trying to get people on. But you aware, I mean, I know Des Ashton kind of brought it onto our radar, pun intended, a little while ago. You know, the 3-eye atlas, the meteorite or thing that's hurtling towards Earth and it's going to land here about November, December. Do you want me to get someone on that wants to talk about aliens? Do you want me to interview someone, maybe on a live, that will do some remote viewing? Do you understand what remote viewing is? It's basically me sitting here with my head back, and then what was the book? I read a book 20 odd years ago about remote viewing, how the American military would have the remote viewers on camp, on base, and they would go across to Russia and literally, if you, for want of a better word, float around their bases just to see what was there, just to see what was going on. That's what remote viewers can do. Do you want me to get a remote viewer on? A live remote view to see whether there's little grey men on that 3-eye atlas? See whether we're ahead of the game. Do you think I should? Is that something that you would enjoy? And if you say, right, I'm going to ask you the question. Do you want me to get a remote viewer on? It's 1 for yes, 2 for no. 1 for yes, 2 for no. It might be something that's new to you, but it's been around for 30, 40, 50 years. Oh, blimey. Les, I'll have them have a look at your gaff. Yeah, 1 or 2. The Umarian meme, 1 if you have a laugh. Yeah, it's not going to be serious. It's not going to be, I mean, it's going to be kind of serious, but I don't know how it will work. Amalia Grassi, Art Bell-ish. Go on. Who's Art Bell? Amalia. I'm trying to, was it... So the remote viewer that wrote the book was, we all go to our local Weatherspoons, then text you which one and which table, and you can pay for a round. Yeah, wrong'un, Laird Wuckfrit. So is it Playground? It was in Area 51. You know Area 51 in America. And it's the guy that wrote the book. Maybe I should read the book before. I'm trying to see if I've got it to hand. It'll be somewhere obvious. I'll get it out, so to speak, for tomorrow night. So I'll kind of show you the book. But it's, I can't remember its title. But it was all about the remote viewers from Area 51, looking at the Russians and looking at this. And there's a couple of people that I've seen on Bad Wolf Project. Atlas is currently Earth distance 385,382, 675 kilometers away, or 239,000 miles away. It's obviously not traveling at the speed of light. Amalia says it'll. Darn aid. Art Bell, renowned radio broadcaster, coast to coast. Oh, right. The guy with the mustache. I've got it. Got it. The Black Pyramid in Alaska. Oh, Garen, now you're talking. We're proper going to conspiracies. But have you noticed how literally every conspiracy theory's been right? Nobody's debunked any of them. So, yeah, Art Bell, see if I can get him on. Random Jack says, Bad Wolf Project, how long we got? Well, they're saying November, aren't they? It's going to be interesting. Art Bell was a US paranormal radio presenter. Is he still alive, Stephen Hall? David Icke, Cuban Pete. I contacted David. I mean, I've got his home telephone number and everything from when I did the interview on the BBC. But I don't want to sort of call David Icke at home going, David, random, but I interviewed you 20 odd years ago at the BBC. I mean, I do believe that was why I was, shall we euphemistically say, let go by the BBC. Tom Harney says, I've heard that there's a second rock coming. Oh, I say. Andrew James, Ancient Aliens is doing a live tour in America. Hope they come to the UK. Are they really? What's the guy, the publishing guy, who's got like really mad hair? It's the aliens. There's a great interview with Joe Rogan and Hal Puthoff I listened to last week about the US remote viewing program. Really rich. Thank you, Amalia. Is expected to reach Mars in October. Right, okay. So we'll see what we can do. If that's a route that you want to go down, because it's all about community here and what you would like, that's what we'll do. Bad Wolf Project says, system scientists say, don't worry. Scientists say it poses no threat to Earth. But yeah, there's pictures of little grey men on the 3i Atlas. And they're saying, don't worry. Of course, because people are going to go, oh, we're all going to die. I mean, look at War of the Worlds. And it was on the radio. It literally, they couldn't see anything. It was on the radio. That's the power of the radio, theatre of the mind. And Orson Welles was presenting this radio show, and literally North America just went, oh! Now, they don't want that. They just want us scared enough and frightened enough just to be able to... it might have been Terry Wookfit, Psychic Warrior. Has it got a green cover? Wonderful. Led Wookfit. I think that's the one. But yes, it is, actually. Yes, it is. I can now see that it's not green. I now see the cover, but there's another one. Adventures in Dreamland? Something like that. I'll find both books and I'll show you on tomorrow night's live. But Rich says, the same bloke who's saying Atlas is a spaceship was the same person who claimed the last asteroid was a spaceship. He's a nutter. Well, we'll just find out. I mean, I think for entertainment purposes, it'll be, it'll be very, very interesting. As I've said to you before, I'm still trying to find. I did a 3-hour ghost hunt for BBC Radio Cleveland at the time. It hadn't gone to Tees. Andrew James says, we'll go to any of the shows of Ancient Aliens. Yeah, me too. I mean, I've watched them from the first episode, because it was just, Ancient Aliens was like, oh, really? Bloody hell, it's the aliens. And then it became a bit of a pastiche and it became a bit of a caricature of itself. But they're still going. What are they on? Season 14 or something now. They've been going for years. The Trog singer was into all this. Reg Presley. He was into... I'm sure Reg Presley was into crop circles. Was it Reg Presley? Yeah, I'm sure he was into crop circles. Alan says, Captain Kirk will save us. Albeit slowly, because he's a bit older now. Tom Harney's, play some Slim Whitman at them. They will turn around and be back home before you know it. And Napoleon Blodebar says, that's very funny, Tom. It's all about the one world government. Of course it is. So they're going to scare the bejesus out of us. They've got to crash the whole system to get rid of the fiat currencies, to bring in the digital currencies. And how are they going to do that? Little green men. Random Jack, Chariots of the Gods was a good film. Yeah. And Eric von Daniken. I mean, I must have been, I was 10 or 11-year-old. And I was talking with the lads at school about Eric von Daniken, Gold of the Gods, Chariots of the Gods, all of his books. Oh, just, in fact, hold that caller. So while I'm talking to you, I'm going to, right. Oh, where's me? There it is. The thing is, you see, I'm really not about the subs, because I know so many people on YouTube can buy their subs. I'm after a really lovely community of truth seekers. That's all I'm after here. So if I, okay, hang on, Eric. Who else? Ancient Aliens. I will do the work in the background over the next few days and see what I can come up with, because, you know, third birthday, 3 is the magic number, according to De La Soul. Darren Donnelly, with the depth of research you do, mission by mission, an Alien 1 will be staggering. Oof. Do you think? So yeah, we'll give it a go. Mystic Warrior, was it Mystic Warrior? Adventures in Dreamland. So we'll give it a go. But it's good to see everybody actually buying into someone doing remote viewing, which is fantastic. Bad Wolf Project. Hang on. Cool, blimey, as per usual. Lots and lots. Come on. Bad Wolf Project says perhaps we should fly to Houston to see the live show. We can invite Dougie. Oh no, we can't. Bad Wolf Project. Yeah, Soul Rebel. I was 10 and that book was passed around. Chariot of the Gods. I know it was one of those, a bit like the Da Vinci Code for me. And I was doing a late night phone-in. Literally, I would race home from the show and start reading the book and get through, 20, 30, 40 pages a night, because it was just cram-packed with information about various things that I was using literally on a nightly basis to deconstruct the Catholic Church. So, Starmer is a Dalek, Cuban Pete. You're funny, man. And the other thing is, does Starmer... That's very good, Tablock Tracy. Does Starmer exterminate if he is a Dalek? I'm not going to try. AI has discovered more diagrams around the Nazca lines. I'm aware of that. The new Mrs. Allen and I had our honeymoon in Peru. And we, as I've explained many times, we went off and did ayahuasca and had an Amazon adventure. And we looked at the Nazca lines, but it now costs so much money. Terry Wookford says, Mystic Warrior is a book and TV series about a Native American. Let me find the books tomorrow, because I could be being distracted. I could be, I'm sure, it's either Mystic Warrior or Adventures in Dreamland. I have it somewhere. But so we went to Peru, and the Nazca lines were, I mean, it was going to cost us a fortune just to go down from Cusco or Iquitos, because the Nazca lines are in the south of Peru. And then we'd have to hire a plane, and that costs a load of money, and lots and lots of stuff. But it's not a regret. I would have loved to have seen the Nazca lines from the air, but they are something else. They are something else. So we'll see what we can do for the third birthday on Wednesday. Don't forget your popcorn Tuesday, and then tonight we're going to talk about new Downton Abbey is appearing, because I'm a bit of a fan. I've been to is it Highclere? Been to Highclere and walked down the actual staircase that obviously the actors and actresses would walk down. But for me, Downton Abbey is a bit special. I'm going to explain to you about Strictly, because I did say to you over the last couple of weeks that Strictly are doing things in a kind of timiest way, and around this time of year they do certain things to kind of make you go, oh bloody hell, Strictly's on, yeah, we'll give that a watch. I'm going to ask let me just do that. we're going to do a couple of musical questions. We're going to reference Princess Diana. Something very interesting about the change in society. You know, Can't Cook, Won't Cook, that TV show. Well, they should start another one. Kids Can't Cook. Talk about that. It's all kicking off in Skegness, from what I understand. From what I understand, and this is Eyewitness that rang me earlier and said that an illegal tried to snatch a 9-year-old off the streets, and the locals in Skegness have kicked off. And then there's the Epping locals refusing to pay council tax. Parliament returns tomorrow. Ginger Growler. And digital ID. We'll talk about that again, because remember, you'll do as you're told, they'll take all your money, and there's nothing you can do about it. Princess Diana anniversary, 28th anniversary today. We may touch on the illegals and what they can and can't own, or what they can and can't buy. Seemingly, some bright spark at the Snivel Servants has got, no, you can't buy a fur coat. What? And you can't own one. And no, jet skis. Yeah, no, you definitely can't buy a jet ski. What? I'm only getting 40 odd quid a week. I mean, I get 3 meals a day. I get a roof over my head. I get classes so that I'm not bored, so that I don't go doing things to the locals that I shouldn't be going and doing. So we'll kind of talk about that in a little while, because seemingly there's a whole list. Going to talk about some royal rumours. I might have to navigate my way gently and carefully through that one. Israel, I'm going to give you an update because it's all kicking off. Well, Iran? Oh, who said they were going to go back and fight? So question 1 tonight, although we have already asked a question. I want to know, because I don't know whether you've been following the serialization of a book about Freddie Mercury. And somebody just commented saying, some say that the gods were aliens, says Stephen Hall. Yeah, they're talking about the Anunnaki and their little handbags and their watches. And there's rock carvings of kind of like an alien, spaceship, flying an alien craft. So, I mean, it's a massive subject that I'm sure we will continue to debate. Karina Jane, no one has mentioned Princess Diana today apart from you, Adrian. I know, Karina Jane. I know. Looked at all the papers and it was like 28th anniversary. Oh, knock. Who's there? Diana. Diana who? Oh, well, that's what happens when you get murdered. Neil Cunningham says, they now attend classes. No bloody wonder my Just Eat order was delayed by 40 minutes. Oh, we'll get to that in when I'm talking about the kids that can't cook, won't cook. Because Gen, what were they? Gen Alpha now? I mean, isn't that an oxymoron? Not that I'm calling all teenagers morons. They're MPs, moronic people. Aidan, you weren't aware of the cargo containers left at some hotels? I am aware. And what was in those, and where was I? Was it on the radio? Somebody rang in and said, "Oh yeah, I run a hotel, and there's people that come into the hotel, and then I'm getting stuff delivered, and the containers have got stuff in it." Well, obviously, look, I am not going to go down and start this off because I don't have the corroborative evidence. But I will tell you that what this guy said was very, 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 very worrying. Tinker Tailor, soldier, sailor, rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. Oh, sorry, Aidan, that's very good. Rich man, Tinker Tailor, soldier, sailor, rich man, poor man, beggar man, stormer. Or Rachel from accounts. I know, I see you. I just remember that day really well. So I'm going to get, once we do question 1 and a couple of other quick subjects, I'll get to Diana, because as Karina has said, literally on the 28th anniversary, nobody, none of the main newspapers, no one has mentioned Princess Diana. So we'll get to that in a moment. Question 1. As I was saying, that the Daily Mail is serialising a book about Freddie and his child. And, you know, that's more common than... I actually know a friend who is out gay, but he's got 2 kids. And I said to him, and women, I know women that have come out as gay, and they've got like 2, 3, 4 kids. And I was like, hang on a second, I don't understand how that works. And they say, well, look, it's not predetermined that you might come out at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You might come out at like 30 or 35 or 40 or 45, whenever you feel comfortable. But they've got kids. So Freddie, this serialization of this new book in the mail is talking about Freddie and his background. And I just thought, because they're talking about possibly one of the greatest frontmen ever in rock and roll, baby, I'm going to ask you a question. What is the best band you've ever seen live or would like to see live? Now, Queen has come out at the top of that list. I've got my own. And one of them is definitely not going to get back together again. So who is the best band you've seen live and or would like to see live? Book of Enoch in the Bible touches on the subject aliens being gods. Thank you, Andrew. I've got actually got the Book of Enoch. Beatles, says Stuart. Napoleon blown apart. Pink Floyd. Bowie, Lauren Taylor. Janis Joplin. I was 10, says I see you. Temperance 7, says Andrew James. Pink Floyd, Nick. Queen, then U2, says Terry Wookford. ELO, Dire Straits, Brian Ferry, Des Ashton, JKK. Squeeze, oh, what a band. 2 Gits in a Car. Neil Cunningham, best band I ever saw were China Crisis. And I interviewed China Crisis a long time ago. Lovely, lovely, lovely fellas. Soul Rebel says, would have loved to see Small Faces or The Jam. Rusty's Roamings, AC/DC and Quo, both amazing live. Oh, you can just... It's all about the emotion, because what the artists are selling is literally just emotion. Blur, Mud and Sweet. Oh, Neil Carter with Brian Connolly singing lead for Sweet. Love is Like Oxygen. Not one of the earlier ones, which was a bit interesting, but I love Love is Like Oxygen by Sweet. Wonderful. Lionel Layton says, Ted Heath and his music with Lita Rosa and Dickie Valentine. Lionel Layton, I'm sure. Was that the best one you've seen or the one you wanted to see? Or did you like going out on Morning Cloud into the English Channel? Depeche Mode, saw them 4 times. Ooh, that's a band, Rich. That's a proper band. Genesis were great live too. A close second for me. Interesting, Napoleon blown apart. ZZ Top, I see you. Alan, never saw Blondie. Wish I had. You still can, but not quite the Debbie Harry of your. Amalia, Taylor Swift. You absolute wrong. I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. You're a bit edgy. You're a bit of a rock chick. So Taylor Swift made me laugh. She does often. Terry Wookford, the Wombles, living on Wimbledon Common, are we? Making good use of the things that we find. That's all I remember. Aidan Wellsmith. Tom Harney's not a band. Hang on. I've seen Jean-Michel Jarre 4 times. Mind-blowing. He's done some fantastic gigs, Jean-Michel Jarre. Where he's bounced lasers off. I think this might have been in the 80s. I don't know. But he's bounced lasers off buildings. And Oxygen was a fantastic song. Fantastic tune. Spencer Davies says, Simple Minds back in the day. Don't you forget about me, Spencer Davies. Phil Levan, I got business advertising on Facebook. I got a call today from a woman in Brum wanting her attic cleaned out. I'm based in Wales, for fuck's sake. Phil Levan, you should have just charged her thousands. If she paid, she paid. Double bubble. The Jam, says Leds Griffiths. Oh, well, you can't. Rick, the drummer, Rick. Because a lot of the old boys have fallen off their perch now. They've had a good run. I see you said, I saw Father, a Croatian heavy band in Somerset. Interesting, I see you. So are we agreed that Queen, so for all the artists, and there's a lot of an eclectic choice, are Are we all agreed that Queen is the best live band ever? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do we agree that Queen is the best live band ever? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Interesting. I mean, I know there'll be some no's. I saw Lynyrd Skynyrd. Wow. Yeah. Fatal Racing Driver says no. Terry Wookford says no. Bad Wolf Project says no. Very interesting, because it's what the newspapers are kind of promulgating, saying, "Oh, Queen's the best live band ever," and who would? So my choices would be, so it's kind of Spencer Davies 2, but Freddie best showman. I mean, nobody could match Freddie. Even George Michael had to have Lisa Stansfield sing with him on one of the songs. Because they couldn't quite hit all of Freddie's range on that particular song. Apparently, Union Gap are on this week on my holiday in Pontons. Brilliant Random Jack. Les Griffiths, U2, a close second. So, yeah, real mixed bag. Real mixed bag. My bands would have been... I would love to have seen Freddie and Queen. Love to, because their hairs on the back of your neck would stand up. My favourite, absolute favourite, Prince. I think they've just released a film on IMAX. They've created the sound, the digital sound. So there's a film of one of his concerts doing the rounds at the moment. Loved to have seen the Beatles in their pomp, but and Lennon live, and Hendrix just for his tricks, and Led Zeppelin. Don't think the Led Zeppelin's going to happen. Hendrix and the Beatles, definitely not. And Prince. But, and isn't it interesting that I've kind of named 5 acts there, and most of them, apart from Zeppelin, are all, can't get the originals together. Queen, Freddie's dead, Prince dead, Hendrix dead, Beatles, John Lennon and George Harrison dead. But Zeppelin, oi, 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 oi. I would love to have seen them in their early days, in the real edgy early days. So let's continue on with what's going on in the world. So Downton Abbey, I think the film's released next week. They've done 6 TV series, 5 Christmas specials and 2 previous films. And this one's kind of going to be the end. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. But for all I love the edgy stuff, and I am a punk at heart, Downton Abbey just kind of has it, really. It's just very gentle. And it's, I was saying a couple of weeks ago how humour, I was talking to somebody that I hold dear. He's such a fantastic man. And hopefully we can... Oh, there's a thing I might ask him. Hang on. We were saying how back in the day, sort of the 70s, and we had this conversation on one of the lives, that humour back in the 70s, 60s and 70s was really gentle. Hang on, we'll get back to that in a second. I just want to answer JKK. He said Big Country. I saw Big Country play Ruger Park when Bowie was headlining, and literally Big Country had the stadium bouncing. Had everybody bouncing off the stands, and it was just fantastic. And then Bowie walks on after Big Country's finished, and I'm not quite sure who decided Big Country would be a good idea to put on before Bowie, because they literally rocked the place mad. And he came on with, "Hello, Newcastle," and then it just killed. I mean, you don't say that to people in Sunderland, because that's how you kill the audience. "Hello, Newcastle," and it just killed it. And for me, Bowie, legend, obviously. Great musician, great artiste, but Big Country absolutely bloody played him off the park. So, let me get back to... so, yes, humour was much more gentle. And then we had this sort of edge and the aggression of the 80s. And over the time where humour was genuinely funny, not in the blue sense, but just in the... Because as Brits, as English, we have a really weird sense of humour. Nobody gets it around the world. The Americans don't understand irony by a country mile. But it's just the gentleness of humour, the TV version of Bob Monkhouse, or Henry Cooper, or Eric Morecambe, the beautifully crafted jokes and the gentleness. So if you're still watching, you might have a glass of something. I'm definitely going to call you over the next couple of days, see if you'll come and chat. Faulty Towers. There's Vic's text. Faulty Towers. Look at how utterly wacky and eccentric it was. I mean, he stopped his bloody car and thrashed the car with a tree branch. I mean, it was wonderfully funny, and the interaction between the characters. It's just us. All the telly and humour back in the 60s and 70s was just reflecting ourselves back at us. And it was just gentle and beautiful. Four Candles has to be the best craft on the comedy front, particularly its use at his funeral. I agree. But that kind of humour, will we ever see it again? I doubt it, unless people regurgitate it and put it on the stage. Don't mention the wall, Stephen Hall says. And Amalia. My first gig ever, Susie and the Banshees, around 81. Hong Kong Garden by Susie and the Banshees has never been better. What a wonderful, wonderful song. Monkhouse was hilarious when you saw him doing stand-up. I mean, genius. Monkhouse was a genius. Photographic memory and genius. First time I saw Van Morrison, Andy Fairweather Low was Van's guitarist. Really? That must have been a few years ago, Tom. I can see why Faulty Towers was my dad's favourite show. I don't know whether you think that kind of Faulty Towers stands on its own, but Dad's Army, it kind of was at the time. It was quirky and eccentric and just us. But Faulty Towers was, I don't think there's been, and even the Trotters, there were great, and it was normally BBC, to be fair. Oh, True Alan, Cosmo, Small Piece, Steptoe and Son, first sitcom I remember when I was a kid. Yeah. Aidan Wellsmith says his that's very good, Nick. That is very good. His funeral sends shivers up my back like a neighbour whose father was a wing commander in the Battle of Britain. The flyby was his Spitfire. Oi, that he flew in the war. How wonderful is that? Only Fools and Horses and the kind of 70s into the 80s. I mean, I remember watching with my mum and dad. Now, I was a grown-ass man at the time. This must have been one of their Christmas specials. But you know the Christmas specials in Only Fools and Horses, where they got into the Reliant Robin. Obviously, play on Robin, but they had to get somewhere, so they just dumped the Reliant Robin and just ran through this smoke as Batman and Robin. Oh dear God, I laughed uncontrollably for 10 minutes at just the sheer silliness of it all. But it's Porridge and Rising Damp, agreed. Don't tell him, Bike! Silly boy. Oh, Jesus. David Graham, latest. Aston Villa's 0, Crystal Palace 2 at the minute. Oh. I've got it. Karina, that was... But at the time, we couldn't say anything to do with sex. Nothing. Absolutely. We were so repressed back in the 70s, into the 80s kind of, so late 60s. I get that things changed in the 60s for a lot of people, the hippies and stuff, but we get to the 70s and sexually can't say a word. But racially, oi. There were literally, I mean, you watch it now and you think, it was not Only When I Laugh, Mind My Language and Alf Garnett, and you just think, how did they get away with that? But all they were doing was they were reflecting ourselves back to us. It's the same with music. So the music of your generation and possibly my generation is not the same as the generation now. All they're doing is they are reflecting back, because it's the purpose of music is to get your hard-earned coin out of your pocket and buying into vinyl. I mean, it's cool now. Up Pompeii, that was bloody funny. And so the purpose of music and or film maybe and theatre was to get your hard-earned, your disposable income out of your pocket and into theirs. And it worked. It worked for bloody donkey's years. Only Fools is interesting because it's contemporary to the time. Most others are historic. Blackadder, for example. Ooh, yeah. Cunning plan. I think a lot of shows you watch back now, you think, how did they get away with that? I know, Stuart, because it's of, as someone's just said, it's of the time, and it reflects ourselves back. And then we get into the 80s and all the edgies. I mean, I've, their version of Friday and Saturday Night Live, and the edgy comedy, and the young ones, and it was that coterie of very clever comedians, but it was a different comedy completely. But the gentleness of the 70s. And then we were told, you can't laugh at Bernard Manning, you can't laugh at this, you can't laugh at that. If you laugh at that, then you're a really bad person. And you're just thinking, we just want to laugh at shit. David Graham says, Bog Monkhouse once said he couldn't say the word condom or he would be fined £1 in the 1960s. According to his An Audience With show, he said he used to use the phrase packet of three. There's always ways around it, and in the language, it's between you and the audience. If the audience understands what you're saying, like most of the audience here, when I mentioned Dougie, they know exactly what I'm talking about, because we've all experienced that Graham Torrington radio clip. I like the Vicar of Dibley, but can't stand her now, Alan. It's not sort of rehashed or regurgitated. It's and not even, I would say, nostalgia for a time gone by. I genuinely believe that we as Brits, or English if you will laugh at stuff, even if it's 50-year-old. I mean, if you look at the stuff from the 1930s and 40s going into the war, that's not going to make us laugh. But then you get into the 60s, and I don't know whether you like the Goodies or Monty Python in the back end of the 60s and the 70s. Some of it was really, I mean, avant-garde. It was really pushing the envelope. But I think there's a lot of love. There's a lot of love for TV series like Fawlty Towers. And I went to a Fawlty Towers dinner a little while ago. And obviously the actors kind of looked like them, but not necessarily. I mean, Basil had to be at least 6'5". So it was a real beanpole. We didn't look anything like him, sort of. Sybil didn't really look like her, but had a hairpiece on. The voice sounded kind of, and Manuel was a bit, nothing like Manuel. But you kind of get into the spirit of things, and then you hear those lines that made your ribs ache from laughing. And you just buy into it because it's funny. So, I want to kind of move on through a couple of things. A friend of mine, whom I love and trust dearly, said something really prescient to me today. He said, do you know, we ran out of something. Doesn't really matter what it was, but we ran out of something. And we thought, Sainsbury's have this kind of, you can buy it online. He said he literally, for example, ran out of tonic water. 25 minutes later, there's a knock at the front door. And Sainsbury's delivered the tonic water at the front door. And if you look at the Deliveroo and Just Eat and all these apps, and me, I mean, look, I think I'm addicted to Toby Carvery's, you know, classy guy, but, oh, dear Lord. So you literally, the kids now, they're not learning any skills. And I think as a traditional guy, my mum was just the most spectacular cook, chef, whatever you want to call it. She literally, we had something in, and I was talking about this the other day, we had something in the Northeast called a plate pie. So you know a dinner plate, slab of pastry, filling, slab of pastry, in the oven, bang. Oh dear Lord, I could eat those until I literally went pop. And she would take whatever was in the pantry or the larder and just kind of go, right, I'll make something that. And she was amazing. But the kids nowadays, what are they learning? Nothing. Where are they learning it from? Nowhere. They're not interested. Why would they be interested in making something, getting their hands and baking, like Great Bake Off? Give that 20 years, they're going to go, the Great Bake Off's dead. Why? Well, nobody bakes anymore. You just literally go on an app, tell it what you want, like this Sainsbury's app. And this is not a promotion. I'm just telling you what a friend of mine told me. I couldn't believe that he literally had run out and thought, ugh, I need some of this. Hang on. Isn't there that app? And because there's an app for everything. He literally went on the Sainsbury's app. 25 minutes later, bang, 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 at the front door. Didn't break a sweat. So what will the kids do if they're using apps and they're getting anything, whether it's a Chinese or any kind of takeaway or any kind of food? They literally can just order it and it turns up at the front door. So why would they want to learn the skills of applying heat to something that's going to give them a meal? Because there's nothing better than trying to Mad Matt UK, you utter wrong 'un. Dixon's special corned beef and potato pie, absolutely delicious. I'm with you. I'm just going to hold that thought for 30 seconds. And oi. So, a Daban chef with our air fryer, I can rustle up anything in minutes. Brilliant, Alan. I'm round your house for dinner afterwards. And Marley Grassy says, I order my groceries from Sainsbury's all the sodding time. But I'm sure you cook, Amalia. But the kids now don't have to. Why should they? They can literally, they can order anything. They don't have to cook. Everything is there for them. Panacalty, I bloody hated it. My mother used to make it because obviously there was a load of us in the family. And she's like, right, we're making panacalty tonight. I said, I'll bloody starve. I'd rather starve. You're quick with the comments tonight. My nan used to do an amazing roast hearts. Mention this to anyone now and they recoil in horror. Roast hearts, what, sheep's hearts or cow's hearts? Look, I've eaten tripe. You know what tripe is, don't you? The lining of a cow's stomach. Oh, a bit of salt and vinegar on that. Oi. And people go, yeah, oh, you mucky bastard, you were eating what? You were eating cow's stomach. As JKK says, Hello Fresh is brilliant. That's what I'm saying. The kids now, look, they're going to get the vote at 16. So literally, why do they want to make anything? Unless it's in the microwave, ping, ping, ping. My nan came from South Shields. Random Jack. South Shields. Loved South Shields. The amount of curry houses in South Shields, more than in Bradford. Sheets hearts? Menudo. I've no idea what that is, Vic's taste. My mum used to do roast hearts. Tripe and onions in Mad Matt UK. See, people would go, oh, yeah, mucky, you're eating what, man? What? Yeah, tripe. And it has that really weird texture on your tongue. And people go, ugh, you mucky bastard. And it's like, look, it's food, man. It's food. It's the offal from the cows. Toad in the hole. Yum. Robbie Reeves. There's a gag there somewhere. Toad in the hole. Sausages and Yorkshire puds. Oi. Tom Harney says, I do like a nice Parmo. I've tried Parmo loads because one of the best Parmo places in Middlesbrough when I was working for BBC Cleveland, I literally used to finish on a Saturday night, come out and have a Parmo. Too much for me. Pig's hearts and pasta was my main meals when I was young, unemployed and single. Mike's Alligators. Adrian, hang on. You are absolutely spot on, mate. But what a lot of people fail to look at is the cost of what these apps cost with their service charge, delivery charges, and both are mandatory. I get it, Mike's Alligators. But the kids are now ding, 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 ding. Everything's in their phone. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, dinner will be here in 20 minutes. What? How do you work that out then? It's actually quicker for a takeaway to make, but you don't know what's going in it. Amalia says, offal is the healthiest, but I couldn't eat tripe. No feckin' way. Look, I was very young and very hungry, and when you're hungry, you'll eat anything, including tripe. Chicken ding, Welsh for chicken in the microwave. No, ping, pop to ping. Pop to ping is Welsh for microwave. Phil Levant says, my mum used to eat ox tongue. Where's it gone? Phil Levant, my mum used to eat ox tongue and embarrassed me in front of my mates asking if I wanted a tongue sandwich. Haggis, love haggis. Haggis, nips and tatties, brilliant. Prices are already inflated. But is it our responsibility to teach the kids? Because I mentioned the plate pies earlier. Random Jack says, my nan cooked that and conger eel. Liver and onions and mashed potato. Kidneys fried in butter, says Amalia. Delish. Pigs, trotters. Honestly, anything. If you're hungry, you'll eat it. Honestly. Don't. Spencer Davies, man. Suet pudding and golden syrup. Let me tell you something, Spencer. If you take a suet pudding and bake it in the oven until it's crispy on the outside and really light on the inside, it is food of the gods. Onion pudding in our house. We would have big dinners with Yorkshire puds, and then if we wanted to change, we'd have onion puds. And literally, it's a suet pudding put in the oven and baked until the outside is really crispy and the inside is really fluffy. I swear to God, that's food porn. That's proper food porn. If look, you can come round to my house and I'll cook it for you. I haven't done it in a few years. Lionel Layton fried matzos, mozzas. Yeah, love a bit of a mozza and chopped liver and egg and onion. Those that know. Haggis, neeps and tatties, Des Ashton. I know, Des, I know. We're cut from the same cloth. Kidneys fried in... we've already done those. Hang on a second. So, suet pudding. I haven't made it in an awfully long time, and I don't think that Toby Carvery actually makes them. But one day, I'll do a masterclass in probably the Lamley and show you how to make onion pudding. Brilliant. We need to stop. Top of 69 is getting the munchie. Random Jack, liver is the most nutritious, especially with onion gravy and mashed potato. Malia Grassi, I recently made a spate of the best apple crumbles ever. Thick, buttery crumble to die for. Right, I've had enough now. I'm bloody starving. So, where are we? There's other stuff that I'll very quickly will go through these. Skegness, there's been a protest outside our hotel. Couple of, I'll just say, because nowadays we have to be very careful. Just some people that might not have been from Skegness. A couple of the locals went and had a word, and I'm being very gentle in what I'm saying here. So I know the informant, the person that told me for 25 years. Parents and grandparents, and now. So what they're doing is they're walking behind the children because they're literally being grabbed. Now, I understand completely. I have to balance this where I understand that that certain organisations, that's all I'm going to say, certain governments are trying to get us to kick off. I've told you this repeatedly. Do not take the bait. Don't take the bait. They want us because they want us to get to lock us down and not have us, a bit like the right-wing thugs. Well, and I've said to you before, there's no such thing as right-wing thugs in the bloody northeast. Left-wing, definitely. Right-wing, don't fucking exist. So now they'll say, well, we're going to have to lock you down for your own good if you're going to go to the streets and take to the streets and start being violent. But parents and grandparents now, they're not, kids, bless them, are not being allowed to be kids. They're having to walk in front of parents and grandparents so that the parents and grandparents can see exactly where they are. I mean, it was the same around the time of the murder of Jamie Bulger. It changed the way that parents parented. So that they're having the kids and the grandkids walk in front of them, so they've got eyes on all the time. All the bloody time. So I believe that this Epping appeal is a watershed. And there's people out on the streets. They're not happy. And in Skegness, they're not happy. But the Skegness thing is not being reported anywhere. A bit like Karina Jane saying nobody's talking about Diana. So Friday's overturning of the rights and Article 3 of European Convention for Human Rights, Epping Council, it's getting to the point where it's literally the collapse of society. But I'll say to you, being a cynical old tart, who's making the money? Mass unrest in Japan, says Les. Wow. But that's over. Is that over the jibber jabber? Because the data's coming out in Japan that the jibber jabber has caused loads of deaths. And I will say this in a loose term. Watch out for more data coming out about the jibber jabber and the injuries. Now, I've got some data. I'll use it tomorrow night, but it is breathtakingly frightening. No longer a right or left thing. Absolutely, Stephen. They're just using us. So there's so in Epping, there's going to be demos. They're refusing to pay the council tax, and it's being with the right-wing thugs thing, the Southport, the right-wing thugs around both sort of coastal areas. They want us to take the bait because then they're just going to shaft us. So for the local councils, the English are going to stop paying their council taxes. You know what's coming. You know what they're going to do. They don't care. They literally don't care. The people that govern us, they don't care whether you live or die. They don't care. So this migrant hotel demo, I don't know whether anybody's seen anything online about what's gone on tonight. I'll get back to your comments in a second. But the hotel's housing 100 migrants. And I'm now hearing there's every chance that they're just going to start processing the illegals into migrants, into British citizens as quickly as possible. So are they just going to process all the illegals, making them British citizens as quickly as they can, because they need to get them into the country, out of their hair and out of their hands, and just say, oh, well, we're processing everything, so we're just doing it really quickly. Yeah. Neil, yes, please. Email it to me. Indians, right, Lionel Leighton, to sum up, we're just cash cows. Of course we are, Lionel Leighton. Of course we are. But that's why I've created this community here. So there's no, you'll notice with a lot of other channels, you get the trolls and the idiots just being really unnecessary. And that's why I'm very happy with this smaller channel. Because the community we have here, we're critical thinkers, we're truth seekers. And we don't stand for idiots. But everybody and everybody's very respectful in the comments, which I love. Alan says, they took my council tax reduction back, straight back out of my bank. Just this year, left me skint. Alan, that's coming. That's what they want. They just want total control. And if they make a mistake, or whether they don't make a mistake, they'll just take it out of your bank. They don't care if you starve. They don't care if you die. That's them. Alan Little, even if they got granted citizenship, they will require housing. It won't solve that problem. Alan, you know what's coming, don't you? Look, I've said repeatedly that BlackRock is buying up all the housing stock. And they're buying up all the housing stock because the councils, or certainly the government, have much more power and much more money. A bit like the LA fires. Some of the houses were razed to the ground and BlackRock running around. Rich, thank you again for your continued support. Thank you. It's very nice of you to say that. So in LA, the fires kicked off, razed houses to the ground, and BlackRock's coming around, can I buy a house? Can I buy a house? Can I buy a house? Now, it's not just one company. It's BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, JP Morgan. They're all at it because they... wow, bloody hell. So that's what they're doing. The housing stock is diminishing. So what they're going to do is that at some point they're going to say, right, we're going to get all of the migrants out of the hotels. Now, the contracts for the hotels were for 6 years. Guaranteed 6 years. Any repairs? Guaranteed. And the Brits, the English, are not going to be able to find either social housing or, wow, Boy 11 pepper sprayed at a migrant hotel demo. So it's all kicking off somewhere. But they're not. Look, I know sometimes I know more than I'm letting on, because this is a very dangerous game. And they're not interested in us having housing and bringing up families. What they'll do is they'll get all of them out of the hotels, and they'll give them British citizenship, so that in 4 years-ish, they will have them elect a Labour government for a second time. But have you seen the latest poll that's come out? Was it yesterday? Reform and Farage on 35%. Labour falling through the floor at 20%. I don't think the politicos in the Westminster bubble, or Westminster bubble, actually get the level of disenfranchisement of the indigenous population of this country. They don't. And that's why Reform, again, going so high in the polls. Labour's done. Tories are finished. Absolutely, as a political party. That's why Trevor Rees-Mogg, there's rumours that he's going to defect to Reform. So, as Stephen Hall says, the Tories are finished too. Absolutely, it's done. It's over. It's gone. The only party that might just bubble along will be the Lib Dems, because they're for entertainment purposes only. But Labour, done, finished, over, gone. When Jeremy Corbyn gets his party going, it wouldn't surprise me if there become more members of that political party that Jeremy Corbyn and Sarah Sultana are organising than the actual Labour Party. Party for the workers. My hairy backside. Trevor Rees-Mogg says Tablock Tracy. Yeah, he's going to defect seemingly. But again, it's Stephen Hall, as I keep calling her, Kemi not good enough. Do they want Boris back? Have you seen how skinny Boris is? Don't tell me he's not been on the bloody fat jabs. Don't tell me he's not on Ozempic or Mount Jaro or whatever it's called. Wegovy. He was a proper chunkster. I mean, up there with Fat Lammy's gastric band. And all of a sudden he's like... Oh, Les, go on. A whisper is Penny Mordaunt is also joining Reform. Is she really, Neil Cunningham? Oi, 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 oi. Penny Mordaunt with that sword. Nick, is there such a thing as a compulsory sale order that could be imposed on the lines on BlackRock in the future? It would be interesting, because you've got now an asset management company with, and if you put Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock together, you've got about $26 trillion worth of assets in the three companies. It's like, if you average it out, 8.5, nearly $9 trillion per. I know BlackRock's got 11, nearly $12 trillion of assets, but that's the game. They're just buying everything up, and then can we get a house? No. Can the kids afford to club together and actually get a deposit on a house? No. Give it 5 to 10 years. Nobody will be buying houses, because there won't be any houses to buy, and you won't be able to buy them because they'll be so the prices will be through the roof. Phil Levan says, I have to do a DBS check to get a license, and they use this Scottish DBS service to do the thing, and it's a crock of shit. I don't have a current passport, so I click the alternative and it kicks me out. Jeez, Phil Levan. Stuart says, last time I seen Boris, they announced that there was a new baby. Yeah, him in a nappy. But honestly, he's like, he must be half the weight that he was. I know that he started running when he got COVID, but that he's either working extremely hard or it's the fat jabs. And as I said to you before, a lot of the politicians are taking the fat jabs because they reckon a new MP going into the House of Commons ends up putting a load of weight on in that first year, because they're getting free food and and they're catching up with energy stuff. But wait till Boris comes out. Mind you, I think he's a moron, because he wrote something. So he wrote about Ukraine and how the war must continue. And then all of a sudden, because they've arranged peace with Putin and Sniffy in America, he's suddenly kissing DJT's derriere and going, oh, that's the right way. Yes, let's have peace. Off. Couldn't lie straight in bed. Compulsory purchase orders have a lot of leeway. Government could sanction taking housing stock back from BlackRock. Oh, can you imagine? Because BlackRock will just go, well, all right, you can have the houses. compulsory purchase, you can pay double. And by the way, we're not giving you any gas or oil. Rusty's roaming saying it's rumoured that the fat jabber can cause thyroid cancer. I read a report the other day where they're saying that one of the particular fat jabs causes the wall of the heart muscles to harden. So people are kind of checking out with heart attacks. That's data, actual data, actually research data. Or Carrier's riding him like a Kentucky Derby winner, says Neil Cunningham. Look, Boris is a shagger, so he don't care. He don't care if he's getting it. But to give Carrie her due, if she knows what he wants and she's giving it to him, she's got full control of that boy. The fat jab eats muscle. The heart is muscle. Interesting, Les. Stuart says Kelly Clarkson had the weight loss jab. Really? Bad Wolf Project. Ginger Ange. No amount of Wegovy is going to save her ginger minge. Technical term, obviously. So, talking about Ginger Growler, she's squeaky clean. I mean, she must wash it every morning. But, so, timing. I've said many times. When you read something in the newspapers, it's about the timing. So, this story, Ginger Growler and the house and the avoiding paying tax and stuff, has been going on for at least a week and a half. And they start back tomorrow. All I'll say is this. Who's trying to do Ginger Growler's knees and why? I mean, obviously they'll be a bit scuffed, but why? Why is look, I'm laughing at my own gags. Up yours. Why is that newspaper? So again, I'll reiterate and corroborate that the news cycle is no longer a week or a day. It is hours, if that, an hour. So the news cycle is spinning so fast, and yet Ginger Growler's been in the news cycle every single day for over a week. Who would want Ginger Growler to go? 2-tier, 3 gear. Because is she the only challenger to him? And would the Labour Party go, well, she's a bit rough around the edges, but go on, have a go. And they are drip feeding this information into the mainstream media. So I believe that the Ginger Growler story is simply because somebody wants her gone. Wonder who that can be. So she's going to go-ish, maybe, or they're going to find stuff out about her that everybody's known about, because I'm sure quite a few MPs are up to the same kind of grift. Very rough around the edges, says Stephen. She's off to the Department of Health. Oh, right, okay, yeah. Neil Cunningham told us about all the movement. So let's see what 2-tier Kia does. But look, this has been going on for 2 weeks now. Starmer's doing her legs, or number 10. We'll call it number 10's doing her legs. And Sam Tarry, her erstwhile shag piece, he's former MP and he's got a lobby job. That's not a technical term, nor a euphemism, lobby job. But he's got a lobby job as young Tarry. And well, they're dancing furiously. There's a lot of money to be had here. So there are companies that are getting nice contracts, thank you very much. And they're just donating to, stuff. I'm going to get into digital ID in a second. Party ain't over. And the fat lady's not even singing yet. But the illegals. Can I just say, the illegals that are coming in, there's too much law. So that the government is saying, no, this is the law, this is the law, this is the law of the land, so you can go and foxtrot Oscar. Right, okay. But around the illegals, there's too much law. It's selective enforcement. But do you know something? There's not enough justice. And the parasitical classes are so close to the end game. The UN, Agenda 2030, World Health Organization, Agenda 2030. It's only 4 years away. They're nearly at the end game. They're nearly over the finish line. They're not interested. So criminality is running rampant in this country, but there's too much law and not enough justice. And would you say that we're all too scared to do something? I mean, there's people saying, right, we're not going to pay our council tax. You know what's going to happen? Because council tax goes into a central pot. Because it's not collected by the councils, it's collected by the government. Oh no, sorry. It is collected by the councils. I'm losing my mind. I'm thinking about national insurance. So, too much law around illegals. There's selective enforcement. I've told you about Skegness and somebody trying to abduct a 9-year-old. But importantly, there's not enough justice. There's not enough dealing with the criminality that's now running rampant in this country. And I'm telling you, the reason why they're allowing this criminality to run rampant is, one, the legal profession. They always want a moral vacuum because that's how they make a shit ton of money. And two, they want us compliant because we're too scared to do anything about it. They want us compliant. That's what they're after. And also, they're going to bring in digital ID, which I'll get to in a moment. But I just want to ask you, Diane, a question. Let's have a look at some of your... Band Again says, anger is at boiling point right now. It has been for a while, Band Again. But they just want something to kick it off big time. And they want people to take to the streets so that they can invoke archaic laws that keep us locked down and locked in, and we can't do anything about it. That's what they're after. Become ungovernable. Don't think that would work. All they'll do is, look, we already have precedent that Winston Churchill put the army on the streets and turned the guns on his own people. That was when he was a liberal. And yes, I get that anger is at boiling point. I get it. But we don't have... Look, on this channel, and Band Again, welcome. On this channel, we've been aware of what's been going on, and we've been monitoring it ahead of the curve, all the time ahead of the curve. There literally isn't anything that we can do about it, except get rid of these shysters, get rid of these crooks, this corrupt government, judging by... no, I'll leave that one. But we can't trust them. They lie repeatedly. We can't trust them, nor do we. But you have to understand that they are governing us for a reason. There is an agenda. There is a World Economic Forum agenda that's being promulgated, and that's why Starmer was put in. I've asked for over a year, what have they got on Starmer that they have put him into power so that he does as he's told? That's why he flip-flops. He's doing as he's told. He's not the Prime Minister of this country. Klaus Schwab was. Larry Fink is. Bill Gates is. Starmer is doing as he's told. Hang on, Adrian. How many times have you said we will rise up and defeat everyone against us? Les, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to rise up. I would suggest that no one rises up to put their family, their individual safety, and their house safety in jeopardy. That doesn't work for anyone. Yeah, I saw Emily Maitlis talk to Starmer about Davos coming before the UK government. I see you. Yeah, they say it's for your own good. We'll get on to digital ID in a second. We had an anti-corruption minister that had to stand down due to being accused of corruption. Says it all, really. Well, you've got to remember there is a reason why Labour very rarely get into power, because they're not used to it. They're not used to the power. And the power corrupts them. All this flying around in private jets, spending thousands of pounds on takeaways. Starmer loves WEF, says Stephen Hall. Yeah, but we don't like or love WEF because we've seen through them. The Communist Party, World Economic Communist Forum. Hang on, let's just... Marley Grassi. What they've got on him is that he's vacant tumbleweed rattling through vacant head. Thick as shite. There is that, but there is... I would say, higher up the food chain you get, the darker the stuff they've got on you. Because they only allow you into the club if you're one of them. Not one of them, but one of them. And if you're one of them, you'll do the same shit that that them are doing and have done for time immemorial. And I agree with Stephen Hall. Blair's behind the scenes. Oh, Blair wanted to run the digital ID. So I'm going to use this as an example. What happens when you usurp the elite? You end up in a crash car dying in Paris. August 31st, 1997, 28 years ago. So we'll have another quick question before I get into digital ID. And it is, I know Karina Jane says I'm the only one that's mentioned her today. And it's awful. There's bloody Harry. Harry's thinking about doing a new Princess Diana documentary. I mean, he's rumoured to want to do a Netflix documentary. Somebody should take that. Take him to one side and say, Harry, don't do it, mate. I think William has told him that many, many moons ago. They've just leave it alone, leave it alone. But if you cross the elite, you'll end up swimming with the fishes. Or in a crash car in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. So I'm going to ask you a question. It's 1 for yes, 2 for no. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you still believe that Princess Diana was murdered? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you still believe Princess Diana was murdered? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Blimey. Interesting. Barry Wright, welcome to the channel, Barry. Paul Mabley, no. Ooh, never did, says Terry Woodford. Not even Boston Breaks, Terry. You should know about that. Should we do a live special on Diana? You can tell me what you know, as in the body of the Kirk, and I'll tell you what I know. Because there's too many anomalies for me around the death of Diana. Blimey, Stuart says I was 4 when she died. Martine says she was pregnant. I believe that as well, and they were about to get engaged. Nikki Watson, yes. Michelle Gooder, yes. Bad Wolf Project. Why has the car never been sent to Merck for examination despite Mercedes-Benz 7 requests? That's why. And also, the car that she was in was bomb-proof, terrorist attack-proof, everything-proof. And yet it hit a concrete pillar and killed everybody. Halloween shite. Neil Cunningham says it went from a broken arm to death in 90 minutes. Banned again. Diana Tunnel was spot a cult did sacrifices years ago underground. Oh, interesting band again. I'm liking some of your comments tonight. Nikki Watson. Bullshite. Yeah, had a way and shite. Nobody will ever make me believe it was an accident. The car was stolen months before. Was it King? Adrian, the car was a Mercedes-Benz S280. Nothing bomb-proof about it. Paulie, you know me. I'm as cynical as the day is long and worked for the fired organisation at the time. Those cars were bomb-proof. All of them. They had been modified. So, technically, any of those cars that were used that night or were used for the VIPs, because Fayed made sure that him, his family, and I've told you before, Fayed never used the same route to go into work or the same route to go home every single day. Nobody knew his route. Nobody. Paulie Galtieri, it wasn't a standard limousine hire car. It wasn't. So, Paulie, if you've got extra information, then contact me about it, because that car has not been released so it can be examined. Of course it's not. Unless it had been swapped, of course, and I'm open to that. Why was Diana driven around for so long after the ambulance crew picked her up? Because they were waiting for her to cark it. Amalia says, hang on a minute, I expect better from... Oh, right, okay. Sandra Whittam, and TRJ was given brown envelope with thousands to keep his gob shut. TRJ? Fayed always feared he was a target. Because he was sat... I can never remember the name of the... wasn't Haile Selassie. Egypt's president at the time. And Fayed was actually an accountant. He was an accountant to the Saudis, I think. And basically, he was given money. He was allowed to use money. He was a wealth manager for the Saudis, the royal families. And he was allowed to spend money, to accumulate money, to make them more money. And from what I understand, he was on the Egyptian president, and he was sat next to the Egyptian president when, can you remember the flotilla of military went past, stopped, and then started taking pot shots at the crowd, trying to kill everybody, including the Egyptian president? Banned again. Buckingham Palace security allowed to do what they like. Interesting. Don't hear much these days about the flash on the bridge just before the bend in the road. That was... Somebody was on the back of a bike. That was reported, I think, by ITV at the time. But also, there was a Dutch woman at the sort of whether you call it the exit or the entrance to the tunnel. So Diana and Henri Paul and Trevor Rees-Jones, thank you. Trevor Rees-Jones were going through the tunnel with Dodie and Diana in the back, and there was a woman watching all of this take place. And she went to the police saying, I saw everything. And she disappeared. Never found, never seen, disappeared. Rich says to Amalia, supposedly stabilizing her to be moved. From what I understand, her, was it the heart, was had ripped away from the aortic valves. So, strange old Trevor has never breathed a word, not one interview. But he did write a book, Rich. The book was pretty light on detail. You can't remember anything. Because I was, as I say, I was working for the Fayed organisation at the time and running the radio station. So we were on the Brompton Road, which is where Harrods is in London. We were on the Brompton Road on the other side with Punch and Fulham Football Club, and the radio station was Liberty 963. So all of these other varying interests were in this high-rise, 6 or 7, 8 stories on the other side of Harrods. And it was... I don't think there is an equivalent. Not even 9/11 was as shocking as Diana dying, because people were just, and also the emotional response from this country, the subjects of this country, who a lot of people loved Diana, loved her because they saw her as a possibly a little troubled soul, and they loved her for what she did, landmines, AIDS, all of her causes. And a lot of the women will understand that revenge dress when Charles the Weak was, dancing with Camilla. and Diana did the black revenge dress. I think it was on Camilla's birthday. So a lot of women can appreciate that, but losing her life. Remember, she had a relationship with Hasnat Khan, the surgeon, and it was been to see his family, met his family, wanted to settle down with him, but it was very, very dangerous. As I was talking about comedy earlier, we could say anything in the 70s around sex, couldn't say anything about colour or race. Kind of is, it's reversed completely. We now can say anything about sex. I mean, we do on this channel in an adult way, but can we say anything about colour and race? No. So the landmines manufacturer weren't too happy with Diana saying, get rid of them. Well, the landmine manufacturers get double bubble. So they sell you the landmines, and you kind of stick them in the ground or do whatever with them. And then the companies come back and say, oh, right, the war's over. Do you want us to get rid of your landmines for you? Double bubble. Nice work if you can get it. I think scenes of people jumping to their deaths from the towers was more shocking than a car crash. No, I think Diana was more shocking. Because members of the royal family don't die like that. They don't. Interesting. Terry Wookfit says to Alan, how she was divorced means she wasn't part of the royal family, nor would any kid she would have had. But can you imagine? And look at today. A Muslim half-brother or sister to the future King of England? Oof. Even fired the multi-billionaire. So as I've said to you before, you won't ever see this in the newspapers because most of them have been destroyed. But the weekend of... so I went into the radio station on the Sunday morning because Diana had been pronounced dead. It was just, getting in a bit. To do the obituary, and Mr. Fayed obviously had to get Dodi back to his estate and had to be buried within 24 hours of death. So we were all in there trying to work out what to do and how to do it, and there was a lot of anomalies. This was in response to, so it was more shocking as it turned out. I mean, 9/11 was very, very shocking. It was a black swan event, but so was Diana. Diana dying, that never happened to royals, ever, still. Even Princess Anne, when somebody tried to attack her and kidnap her, it was like, no bloody likely. Dodi was hardly a Muslim, was he? Didn't exactly live by their tenets. He liked to drink and gamble and stuff. Same thing as Zelensky. Because I jokingly said, do we want to check the sofa for... no, I can't really. Should we check the sofa? Because one of the sofas came out of Dodi's office and came into the radio station. And I was like, can you see anything? Is there any Vim or Daz on there? Alan says, neither do most of the immigrants. Muslim when it suits. I know Princess Anne on the Mall. Not bloody likely. Oh, can you imagine? Oh, sorry. No. I mean, I don't think we'll see the likes of this royal family, Princess Anne, or Edward, or Andrew. I mean, I don't think it's. I don't think we'll see the likes of Queen Elizabeth, Phil the Greek, I mean, some of the stories. I mean, he's got kids all over the world, all over the world. And young Phil was a bit of a shagger, seemingly. And somebody, the last live we did on Wednesday, somebody was like, "Who's Porchy?" So I kind of commented and said, "That's who Porchy is." Oh, I say. Beckham for king. I mean, I do wish. I think that Charles is going to live longer than we anticipate. Charles the Weak. So I do wish him long life and good health as best as can be. But they've been so every year. Thank you, Stuart. As ever, thank you very much for your kind support. So what the royal family do is they have Royal Week in Edinburgh. So they come up from London, go to Edinburgh, they do the garden parties and the investitures and all the meetings and all the stuff that they have to do. It's called Royal Week. Normally second or third week in July. And then they go from Edinburgh, having done Royal Week, they go up to Balmoral. And they spend a month in Balmoral. And they only come back down, kind of beginning of September. But it looks like Charles the Weak and Camilla, Queen Consort, will come down to London, and then Billy and his missus and the kids are all going to go up to Balmoral. But oh, is that a Theatre of the Mind t-shirt you are sporting tonight? Very dapper. Hang on, can you see that? Yeah. Oh, it's back to front, man. It says subscribe to my channel, Adrian Allen's Theatre of the Mind. It was a gift that it's a Christmas gift that I just love because it fits. Yes, Tower Block Tracy, it is a Theatre of the Mind t-shirt. Why did Trump refer to Charles and Camilla as central casting? Wow, what can I say, Les? Well hung lesbian. So I think it's a pity Anne couldn't be queen. Oh, she would have made a fantastic queen. I mean, my mum and dad met her, said she was lovely. Not my king or queen. Sorry about that. No, nothing to be sorry about, Alan. Personal choice. I can't, because of Diana and on the 28th anniversary of her death, I can't really, it just doesn't sit right with me. I mean, I wish Camilla well, long life, good health, but I just can't call her queen. Not after Queen Elizabeth II, Elizabeth the Great. So I will call her Queen Consort. Stuart says, Theatre of the Mind. I was about to ask if that was a YouTube logo on your t-shirt. Kind of, but not. Maybe I should do more. See, some people, merch. Sell. But I'm kind of, PT Ham, yeah, wrong. I don't want to take your eyes out. And unless it's a fair deal for the channel to keep it going, then I will. But most of the people, the suppliers, are just, it's like a mug. I wanted to do this mug, an utter wrong one. I wanted to do that with that. And don't forget the Battenberg on the back. The prices I was quoted, I mean, it was like at least a £5 each, printed and done, and then the postage was going to cost a £5. So all of a sudden, we're into a tenner, standing still. Can't even wash me face. So to make any profit on it whatsoever, just to keep the channel going, I'm keeping the post office and the suppliers going. So I will have a look at it. I will see if I can do it. Because having an utter wrong'un mug would be rather splendid. But Amali says, my phone is about 5 minutes behind the TV, for fuck's sake. Fill the van. We won't have 20 years of Charles. Oh, I agree with you. We'll have, it's a bit like popes. You know, when they elect a new pope, if they've had a short one, they want a long one. And if they've had a long one, they want a short one. Or they'll have a long one and a couple of short ones. So what was I going to say? Terry Wookford says to Alan, you might want to read your oath of allegiance to make heirs and successors. Yeah, so I think Billy is going to be, I mean, look, William of Orange. I'm waiting for certain factions to go, "Whoa, we've got a King Billy," because he's going to be called King William, isn't he? He will have a long reign. Charles, I think, had the misfortune of following and being the son of the longest serving monarch in the history of the country ever. So, and what's Ghetto Defendant says, I'd love a Hadaway and Shite. Oh, Ghetto Defendant. Yeah, Hadaway and Shite t-shirt. I'm just writing it down. I mean, it's a bit late for the third birthday, but maybe for Christmas. Oh, brilliant. Brad Wolf Project says, if those T-shirts go on sale, you want to have printed back to front so we can all match. Rusty's Romies. Lizzie was a tough act to follow. I agree. You can't, mate. You end up wearing the shirt with short trousers. Not a good look for the Kirk. Amalia. Oh, right, okay. Ooh, interesting point, Terry. It's a fact. If you swear an oath of allegiance to Lizzie, you swear an oath of allegiance to her heirs and successors. You don't get to pick or choose. Interesting. Napoleon Bonaparte wants a shirt. Right. And in fact, I didn't even think about it. I just stuck the T-shirt on to come and do this live. So if you could smash the likes, yeah, Romans, just blimey. 276 watching now. So if you can, smash the likes. Help me get it over 200 before we finish this live, which we will do in a couple of minutes. Staying with the Royals, because I think this is... So, I told you about pegging. Can you remember me telling you about what pegging is? I'm not going to explain it again. A V-neck for the women. Oh, okay. Right, okay. So if you can smash the likes, please. Look. I'll tell you this story. There was one Friday night. I was kind of up late. I couldn't sleep, and all of a sudden this thing broke on social media, on Twitter, if it was called Twitter then, about pegging. Now, I'm not talking about hanging your clothes out on the washing line for the fresh air. No. So if you know what pegging is, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't you can Google it either. Well, not when anybody's around, because your computer might blow up. 2 girls, 1 cup. So this thing started on X, on Twitter, about pegging and Prince William. And seemingly, according to Dan Wootton in his channel, it was Meghan Markle that released the rumours about Prince William's supposed affair with Rose Hanbury. And seemingly, it was an overheard conversation with a journalist, Giles Corran, that kind of let the cat out of the bag. And that's where the pegging rumours come from. And at the time, I was thinking, whoa, Jesus, how did they get that out? I mean, this is going mad. This is literally going mad on the Friday night. And I thought, oh, it's just, that's bloody social media for you, man. I'll leave it. I'll just go to sleep, see if I can get to sleep. And I wake up the next morning and there's nothing. There's literally not a hashtag, not a mention about pegging, Prince William, Rose Hanbury, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the rumours are it was bloody Meghan Markle that Unleash the Hounds! And so... Bloody hell, Captain Pugwish. Hadaway and Shite merch is sadly already being done by another YouTuber. No way. Ah, well, I'm from Sunderland. Hadaway and Shite's from the northeast. Fuck them. Thank you, Neil. Please smash the likes. If you haven't smashed the likes yet, then please do so. We're only 40 odd away from 200. It would mean a lot if you could. I do all this for free. I think we'll round it off there. Richard left John as regent in England. Funnily enough, didn't exactly punish him when he got back. It was after Richard John became tyrannical. Brilliant. So I'm gonna round the live off. There was so much that I wanted to talk about tonight, but we'll talk about Israel tomorrow. Gareth Southgate, I think it's all over. He's going to host a BBC show, as Sandra said a little earlier. It might be that he's got a manager's job. Tell you about this, all that, and to round tonight's live off, you've got 7 days' notice. 3 p.m. next Sunday afternoon. There's going to be that emergency phone alert thing. Last time was April 2023, but 3 p.m. next Sunday, everybody's phone's going to go off. So why are they testing it now? And who's running it? It's not rich boy Sunak and his missus, is it, by any chance? So next Sunday, just letting you know, if your phone goes off at 3 o'clock, you think, what the actual? It's just that emergency phone alert. So thank you for your continued support. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for another live. It was Theatre of the Mind live number 228. We'll do it again Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. So whatever you do, wherever you go, look after yourself. R.I.P. Diana. And make sure you've got a bit of emergency Battenberg with you. Otherwise, you could get stuck and caught out. And the altar wine is free, of course, because you are a member of the body of the Kirk. And please remember, the Theatre of the Mind lives, they're not shows. It's a mission. And the mission continues. Monday, 7:15 for the parish notes. 7:30 we go live. I'll see you tomorrow, Monday, 7:15.